October 30th, 2018. It was one day before Halloween, the day before I found out what I'd done. Honest to God, I wish I could forget what I came to know. But what I discovered must be shared. Perhaps it'd be a weight off my back. The knowledge that I'm not the only one who knows. On October 30th, 2018, I unearthed knowledge that people have been seeking all their lives, possibly the biggest question of them all. I am both terrified and saddened by what I know now, but most people would think if you discovered something so important, you would be ecstatic, but this is different. To anyone who's reading this, you're probably curious. You probably want to know what question I finally found the answer to. Well, I know what happens after death. I took part in an experiment called the White Angel, TWA for short. TWA was a very secretive operation run by a group of scientists and doctors I believed worked for the government. They searched for people with low income and asked them to join the experiment for large amounts of cash. The only catch: could lose our lives. I didn't care. I don't have much family as is, and I really needed the money as I recently lost my job. So, I agreed to do as they said, and on October 29th, 2018, I took part in the experiment. There were at least 20 other people taking part in the experiment. The plan was to have our hearts stop, then started back up in a couple of minutes later. We would then describe what we experienced or felt. They walked me to a table. I lied down on it. They stuck a needle into my arm, pumping a strange black liquid into it. A couple of minutes later, everything started to fade to black. I soon departed from the world as we know. When I awoke, I found I was standing in a place of fire and brimstone. I was so horrified. There were people around me, naked, walking towards a door made of bones in front of me. I followed the crowd hesitantly. When I came close to the door, I saw there was a text located above it. It read a phrase I clearly recognized from my school days: "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." I finally knew where I was. Hell. I accepted my fate and walked through the gates only to find a city of the damned. A strange red liquid rained from the sky, one that burned my skin on contact and stained a deep crimson. Those around me seemed to not be bothered by it, seemingly used to the hellish substance. This liquid stained each and everyone it touched, creating a melancholy army of wanderers with demonic red skin. I could hear screams from ahead. The sounds of so many poor souls screaming made me feel as if eardrums were going to burst. Even though their screams did not stop, it seemed as if my ears began to get used to the pain. There seemed to be people not entering the gate, and I could hear people asking them what lies ahead. I heard them answer: Satan's kingdom. I stood there for a while, looking ahead to the past, the souls of the damned. They all were marching towards what looked like to be a city. It looked to be made of fire and brimstone too. I joined the others and walked forth towards the city. The place shook as if there was a massive earthquake happening, but I discovered it was something worse. Close nearby the city, colossal-sized beings were roaming the fiery wastelands, crushing and destroying anything in their path. I made sure to stay out of their way, and I finally made it to what people called Satan's Kingdom. It is a place I called home for a long time. The things I've done in hell. I've done a lot of bad things in my life, so I know this is where I belonged. I made money not in an average way. I scammed people and would steal from time to time, just to be able to manage to support myself with a little bit of cash. When I entered the Inferno, I entered the City of the Damned, also known as Satan's Kingdom. In a place ruled by hell's creatures, you have to learn how to survive quickly and how to protect yourself. I lived in hell for 4 centuries. I know that seems like a lot of time, which it is, but hell is a lot weirder than anyone could think. You don't get bored, you don't go insane. This place seems to have a mind of its own. It constantly wants you to be afraid and in pain. So the last thing it wants for you to do is to forget the feeling of torment. This made being here worse. When I first entered the city, I expected to be taken away, forced into a place forever to be tortured. But it's different. The city of the damned is a place full of creatures living in hell and normal people. Not normal in the sense of being civilized. The most civilized thing you can encounter in hell is someone not bashing someone else's head in. I questioned why would people hurt each other if there was no one trying to hurt us besides the hell's creatures walking around? Why would we attack each other for eternity, making our new lives tortures in the fiery wasteland? I found out why quickly. In hell, there is a killing ranking system. For a certain amount of people you kill, the higher up you rank, making you stronger. Randomly, after killing any number of people, you have the chance over your body to kind of like mutate. This would allow you to be able to fight easier and make your stay in hell easier. We don't just kill to get stronger. We kill because killing is freedom. Every kill gives the people of hell relief because they are closer to their goal. That goal is the ability to reincarnate and to live a happy life on Earth. Instead of spending eternity in pain and suffering, when you hit that certain amount of kills, you get a deal. Stay in hell and help rule or reincarnate. The person who gives you this deal is a god. No, not the devil, because in this world, there is a god, but he is not a god of love, but the opposite. Once I found out about this, I learned to fight and how to become a killing machine. My goal was reincarnation. In hell, everyone is all around the same age, usually in their 20s. I believe it's to help people fight. I know it seems weird that hell will do this, but I believe it's to make everyone have the chance to fight because this place craves violence. It took me a couple of years there to learn to fight. I died countless times. Every time I die, I would wake up at those gates and be forced to walk back into the city. You do not need food in hell, which causes people to be irritated, because we still have the feeling of hunger. Starvation can make people go crazy. I've seen people cannibalize to try to stop the endless feeling of hunger. And I am ashamed to say that I've tried it once before. There are no rules in hell, no punishment, because people being here is the punishment, which means there's no judgment for the things you do. No one to tell you right from wrong. Due to me being 5'5", I am good at being silent and unnoticed. In a place full of pain and people looking out to kill for the power, it helped me out a lot. There are groups in hell, for example, murderers. People that were already good at killing before getting here have it easier than more than half of the people who arrive here. No matter what, everyone comes here, and their knowledge, they group up with people like them to slaughter countless people for fun. Not to come back to live again, just to cause pain. The only way to reincarnate is to kill, so I joined one of these groups. I helped kill hundreds of people. I learned to use my size as an advantage and used it to sneak up on people and attack them. After maybe 20-something years there, I had mutated. I had gained the ability to climb walls, and I'll tell you, mutating is not something you can't feel. You feel as if your whole body is on fire from the inside. I can tell you this hurts like a bitch. I've experienced worse, but the ability to climb walls helped me be sneakier in the city. I could catch people looking to hide off guard and attack. This gave me the nickname the Spider. I was known around the city of the damned. My new skills helped me slaughter hundreds of people. I feel bad, and I don't at the same time, because there's no right or wrong, because we are all striving for the same goal. In hell, you have to embrace the inferno you are thrown into. You learn to accept the things you have done and adapt to the world you are thrown into. I learned to enjoy my work and embrace the name Spider. In an act of killing, I challenge myself to become better. Depending on the person, I try not to use weapon, like a sharp stone and stuff. I use my fist to attack my enemies, mastering the way of hand-to-hand combat. I'm not proud of the things I've done in hell, but it was the only way I could escape. I've walked through the valley of death, and I don't fear its evil. My many times in hell, I've walked through the valley of death, and I don't fear its evil. I embrace it. The scary thing about hell is how much it opens your eyes. Views on life can change in the matter of an instance. You learn that you should value your own life over the others. People refuse to believe it, but there's only hell and no golden gates. Let me tell you about the people of hell. Hell consists of people of all sorts, murderers, thieves, and anything in between. People you may not even suspect, people of religious belief, people that believe that there is a God, and that if they stay on the path of faith, they will be saved. Some people even believe that hell is the ultimate test of faith, and that if they take what hell throws at them, they will be saved. There are no gates waiting for us. There is no holy God, a God that loves his children and would do no harm to them. Hell is a place that messes with your mind most of all. It causes mental pain to people. As I said before, some people believe hell is a test of faith. I truly believe it's not. I've seen people do horrible things in the name of their Lord. A lot of people believe in self-punishment. People inflict pain on themselves to try to shower their God. They are true to them and they try not to sin. These people are scarier, I find, than even the murderers of hell and the monsters themselves. I talked before how hell has creatures that roam around and slaughter anything in their way, but there is one I find most intriguing. This monster is the embodiment of gluttony. It's massive, as tall as 3-story buildings. Its stomach, it just doesn't stop eating. The people of hell call him gluttony. You know, that sounds cliche, but it's what we refer to him as. Gluttony doesn't need to go out and hurt people. People come to him. I call that crazy, but I think the world I'm in is the embodiment of crazy. The real extremists that believe in self-punishment feed themselves to the creature every single day. You guys might be wanting detailed explanation of what gluttony looks like. As I said before, he's the size of a 3-story building and he never moves from his spot. He appears to look human, but his skin is all cracked and dyed by the red acid rain falling from the sky. His face is deformed and one of the eyes is greatly smaller than the other, making it harder for him to see. He has multiple rolls down his stomach and the creature has no genitals from what I could tell. He sat with his legs crossed most of the time, and if he was a giant baby sitting on the floor. That's all I can really remember living in hell for 4 centuries. You tend to forget a lot that happened, surprisingly. Gluttony's area was the best to take lives, though. The people wouldn't tend to fight back, and if Gluttony caught you taking the lives of the people he would attack, he would fight you. I lost my life countless times. Luckily, due to the fact that he has trouble seeing, it was easier for me to sneak past him. The area was a slaughter fest. It was as if the Valley of Death, and I embraced it. It helped me take countless lives, helping me mutate a couple times. It hurt like a bitch, but felt like every mutation hurt more than the last. But the abilities I gained helped me massively, and I was very lucky in hell. I got some of the best mutations. Some people would think this is gross, but let me tell you a thing in hell, it's a lot worse. So you learn to get used to the weird, and you don't complain about what you get because you wouldn't be better off without it. I gained the ability for my spit to become extremely sticky. I also could spit far. I'd be able to trap people walking in the gluttony area and kill them myself. Another mutation I got also involved my teeth. I gained razor-sharp teeth, so when people were in my trap, I could tear through their flesh, not only satisfying my lust for death, but also my higher on the death rankings. I'm starting to think the demons people believe in are it's just us. People who are trapped in hell and we become demons ourselves. Maybe the monsters we see are just people like us who have chosen to stay in the darkness. There are things far worse than death and hell. O Lord, deliver us salvation from the eternal inferno. O Lord, give us the strength to move on in this eternal darkness and allow us the ability not to lose faith in thee, O Lord. Well, crap like that is what you're hearing in hell. People praying to their false gods in hopes of salvations and freedom from the eternal darkness we eventually get plunged into. These people you will find in camps in hell. When I say camp, I don't mean to pitch a tent, set up a fire and drink your sorrows away, or even just enjoy the night sky. Imagine a refugee camp, but full of religious nuts who sit around all day babbling to themselves whatever's going on can't be real, or people trying to convince others that whatever is going on is a test of faith to God will deliver us out of the inferno. These camps never really last long. They are known to only last 20-ish years. I stayed in a couple of them. They aren't that bad if you ignore the nutcases. Let me give you guys a detailed explanation of what these places look like. Hell is scattered with bones of the people that fall victim to the inferno. People use skin and bones to build tents like buildings for people to sleep in. I know it's strange to think that people are sleeping next to each other in hell, but it's honestly true. I was surprised myself, but I didn't really care because a bed is a rare thing in hell. Don't take beds for granted because in hell we don't have fluffy soft comforters. Our bed is, if we are lucky to have one, are made of stretched skin being held together by rocks and bones, tied together with hair. I know it sounds horrible, but it's better than sitting in puddles of blood and burning rock that scatters the floors of the camps. I spent many years hopping from camp to camp, sometimes picking off people in their sleep. I sadly stopped going to these camps because I learned something grim about these places. It was a place of endless torment and pain, and there is no way that it will allow people like this to try to live normal lives. Hell deals with these places by sending the unthinkable to these places. You might be curious about what hell sends. I thought of these creatures to be rumors, maybe just something someone made up to scare people and keep them in the constant fear, but I saw them. People refer to these creatures as hellhounds. This is not because they look like a dog, but because they are loyal beasts of hell. They are sort of like shapeshifters. They take the form of whatever the greatest fear you have most. I have encountered these creatures when they attacked the camp I was staying in. I was sleeping with some girl I decided to hook up with. While I was there until I heard the sounds of screeching and sounds of people scrambling to their feet. I stepped outside the tent I was sleeping in to see these shadow-type creatures moving towards all of us in the camp. One pushed me to the ground and began to take shape of a massive spider. I screamed in terror. One of the friends I made knocked the creature off of me. Me and him tried to run, but I knew I wouldn't be able to get away. I did what I had to do. Hell is a place where you should trust no one. I knocked him to the ground. As I watched the creature tear him apart, taking the shape of a zombie, it sucked his soul through his body. Light shot from the creature's eyes and my friend's body just went limp. I managed to escape and hide under some rocks, and I watched as the creatures took shapes of everyone's worst fears. I watched as they took their souls from their bodies. I sat there and cried, realizing what I had done. In hell, killing isn't so bad because everyone just comes back and still has a chance to reincarnate, but I just caused someone's existence to vanish, never to be able to come back. In hell, there are things far worse than death. The fact that we die and come back and die and come back is horrifying, but you don't realize how scary it is when you discover one day you might not. Milliseconds, minutes, hours, days, and weeks, and years, decades, and centuries fly by into the pit. The concept can't be lost due to the fact that you are always kept busy day in, day out. Night after night, to be honest, I said I was in the inferno for around 4 centuries, but that's just my guess. Who knows how much time really works here? All I could keep in my mind on once I discovered the possibilities of permanent sleep was how to get out of the inferno. Or commenting to myself, I should just let the creatures of hell take my soul, find peace in the eternal damnation. I think it's about time I tell you about the Inferno. The worst things I had to endure and do to come back. To warn and tell everyone my story, even if they believe it or not. Call me crazy, I don't care, but don't plan on making friends with me when we're all eventually sent back. Honestly, the Bible is a load of crap. For years I had the same quotes going through my head in the day out. Isaiah 41:13, "For I am the Lord your God who takes to hold your right hand and says to you, 'Do not fear, I will help you.'" Matthew 5:34. God bless those who realize the need for him, and who mourn will be comforted. Someone tell me, where was our help? When were we comforted besides when we took the lives of another person, knowing that we'll have peace for a little while until we stumble upon another foe? Who was there to take a hold of my right hand, tell me not to fear? No one came to my rescue. I sat there for years praying up to the crimson sky, begging to be saved, but no one came. I took my own hand, saved myself so I can live in my life with slight comfort now. I recommend you do the same. The Inferno is like a flame. It burns anything it touches, transforming everything and anything in its way into ash. The Inferno burns our hearts, taking away any love or compassion we felt towards others, turning into ash in our hearts, releasing us, making all of us rely on certain emotions like anger. This forces us to lean towards our animal instincts like a crutch or a cane to the blind. When I accepted all these completely, that's when he appeared to me, the ruler of the Inferno. He came to me in a shadow-like form and explained to me I was now a candidate for the trials. He explained to me things I would undergo and have to do. These trials consisted of challenges of harming others, then to myself. I don't mean when I say to harm others, the residents of hell. I mean living people. You see, when people reincarnate or come back to life, the devil gives some of us a list of things to do as sort of a favor for him. But one you definitely shouldn't refuse. If you go through the places like the dark web or the deep web, you can find thousands of pages on devil worshipping and demon summoning. As most of them are fake, some of them are not so much. Most people, when they return, are told to spread the word of summonings. What these rituals would have you do would be take the life of another on an altar of some sort of hope, gaining some power from the Dark One himself. But what people don't realize, when they complete the ritual, they're signing away the rest of their life. They have left the Dark Lord. As a participant of the trials, I would be forced to take over the lives of these people and spread chaos. Shootings, drive-bys, and terrorist attacks are some of the things you can expect to do when you are partaking in these trials. The worst part about them is that when these people died, you know where you're sending them to, right down below into the land of the dead, where they will be forced to live out the eternity there or rise to fight and return. After controlling a person, everything gets hazy and it's hard to remember what you did, but there's one thing you can never forget. Something that goes completely unnoticed for a long time, residents of the abyss. The screams. The loud squelching sounds of my feet hitting the blood flesh-riddled ground is something you learn to get used to with so many of us dying. Our bodies are either cannibalized by the residents or taken by the ground itself. There is no doubt in my mind this place is alive because it's as if the ground is feeding on the rotten remains that are left stained on the floor. Time moves differently here than on Earth. When I say I do not mean 1 minute here is a month on Earth. People come from here from all points of time. I've seen my fair share of Vikings screaming about how they've entered Helheim. Turns out slaughtering women and children bring you here and doesn't lead you into Valhalla. Who would have guessed that? I found this out though when I entered my first trial in the Inferno. Once the trials are presented to you though, there are requirements to start each one. It's honestly pretty simple. Once the devil showed himself to me and knowledge of how to open the first trial was burned into my brain. It hurt so bad I ended up dying again and had to start over. When I woke up and found myself staring at the gates once again, I felt this burning sensation on my arm. In Roman numerals, 1 was burnt into my arm. I assumed this was because I had officially started the first trial. Now, what were the requirements for this trial, you might be wondering? Find a child, walk 2 hours in one direction, a pit will open in front of you, throw it in. In the Inferno, when you wake up, there is usually some form of a line entering the gate. When it's your first time, you will be shaken up as anyone would. The sounds and screams you get used to, but it's hard to drown them out. Focus is the key for the first trial. You will need to find a child. These are babies that didn't make it during the first months of life. They appear to be within the ages of 1 to 6 months. Obviously, in this hellish landscape, you can only imagine the horrors that are awaiting them. I had to search far and wide to find them because people just pick them up and walk away with them. I've seen people eat them and use them as weapons to bash people with, which is honestly not the worst thing I've seen here. They're hard to come by though due to how they arrive here. When people wish to summon a demon, an inhabitant of the Inferno, they must provide a soul of an innocent. I'm not going to go into details on how they get them, just what they are used for. Once they sacrifice their child, their soul is cast down to the Inferno and end up with us in the lane. Usually they're just trampled over or taken like I said before, but if you are lucky, you can just grab one. I had searched for days pushing past hundreds of newcomers until I found one, in a pile of discarded human waste. There it was sitting in the pile, skin-stained red like the rest of us. I just picked it up and walked away like everyone else. This step is the easiest part, because when you enter the Inferno, everyone is met with the same gate, and they're forced to walk through. There's no violence in the line, because if you attack another person, you will be dragged from your feet into the ground. Brimstoned hands reach up and gain hold of you by your ankles, and there is nothing you can do. I'm not sure what people are met with when they are dragged down, but that they are never seen again. This stops though, once you are through the gate. People will sit there and try to pick off newcomers to continue up their rankings. With my demonic evolution, I can easily get away. No one wants to mess with someone that has clearly evolved more than them. I picked a random direction and just walked. And after 2 hours, I was in a barren waste. There was no one around me, and the screams that could be usually heard in any part of the city or the outskirts of had ceased. Then after some time of waiting, a piercing sound ringing out through my ears. In front of me, a flesh pit had opened. Instead of the sound of crackling stone, I heard the ground rip open like flesh being torn apart of the body. Eyes and teeth looked at me. They were scattered in the round pit. This wasn't an ordinary hole, it was living. It was breathing, something I'd never smelt before. It's as if he took all the waste in the Inferno and put it in one place. I'd thrown the child into the pit, and its screams echoed in my brain, and I've never been able to shake it. When it comes to attacking another person in the pit, it is at least somewhat fair since everyone starts off around the same build to keep us being able to attack each other, but this was a child. A defenseless creature forced in an unfair realm of pain and sorrow. Like I said before, this place has a way to never make you fully get used to it. When the screaming stopped, the pit reached out with its teeth-filled tongue, wrapped me, piercing my body as if it pulled me in with it. Let me explain the pain I had felt. Imagine getting thrown into a wood chipper, but instead of the fast and painful death, you were stuck there for hours until every last fiber of you is digested. But once all was said and done, I opened my eyes and I was met with trees. I looked down at my hands to see white skin, not the red I had grown used to. I was back, finally back, and in the air, it never smelled sweeter. That's when I saw him, though. The same man that appeared to me in the Inferno. He was covered in shadow until he stepped close to me. The candles of the rituals I was used to summon me here lit him up. They say the devil wears a suit and tie. They are right. He explained to me the things I was to do now that I am back on Earth. Kill the family of the body I was inhabiting.